Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
All right, there we go. Yeah, sorry, you caught me on the phone. I was trying to do a business deal.
Ha ha ha! You could always put me aside for that.
Well, I've been trying to do better about being a little bit more relaxed on Wednesdays and working from my house. So today I just got a little bit busy this morning, and now I'm ready to go. I'm turning my phone off so it won't interrupt us, and we'll go at it.
Awesome.
So let me pull up some stuff here.
You did a great job on that RDA kit.
Oh, I'm not done yet. I still need to figure out lighting. I've never done lighting in a building.
Oh, okay.
So I got to buy some LEDs and all that. Okay, now how do I get back to that check? I need to share my screen with you.
Okay. In the Hangout that we're in on the left-hand side is all your icons.
Yep, got it. Okay.
Yeah, I just pulled out a couple of RDA kits that I had started and threw in a box because they're going to be too much work to get them done.
They are definitely a little work. There's no question.
However, the price, the little labor involved to get them to look good isn't, it's not all that much compared to like $9.99 or $20 that they're worth.
Yeah, that's just it. If you're not craftsmanship minded, I can see how they would frustrate you real fast.
Yeah.
Only because I got into this one that I'm working on, and the building doesn't fit the base.
Yeah, which is typical.
Yeah, so I was like, well, I don't need it anyway. I'm beyond that. So
yeah.
But yeah, you can't beat the price, and the guys there are pretty cool to work with that I've been dealing with so far, and I figured, you know what, it's worth it.
You talk to them?
Yeah, Matt, and what's the other guy's name? I forget the other guy's name. I had some issues with some things on the first order that they resolved and took care of.
They're the children of the founder, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's how it works, because the RDA kits have been around since I can't say with authority, but I think they're from around the 70s and 80s is when their time started.
Yeah, it's been fun because I've never really delved into the whole weathering or any of that. I mean, last time I had model railroad stuff was 15 years ago. I've just recently picked it all back up, so
yeah,
a lot of things have changed in 15 years, and
these kits aren't fragile by any means, so that you do have an option of fixing things if you do screw up. Like removing the paint ain't gonna really mess up the brick more than
it already is. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed on this next one that I started getting ready to put together is the moldings really aren't all that. Let's just say they're not high-end quality, but they're good enough to make it look decent.
Yeah, they're not bricks. They're more like nibs.
Yeah, exactly. And so while I didn't want it to be at the front of my layout, you know what? It's going on my wharf scene, so it is what it is, and I'll add a bunch of stuff to
looks
hopefully
fantastic.
Make it look good.
Looks fantastic.
So, well, hey, we're here to talk about SketchUp today.
You got that right.
And pick up kind of on where we left off with our last session. Can you see my SketchUp screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. And so I haven't touched this since the last time we were messing with this. I did go in later and work out the whole parapet piece. Now, when I pull my image up on the right, can you see this on the right?
No.
All you see is SketchUp?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to share multiple.
So you could turn off this share and then go back and share your entire screen is what it's labeled.
Okay, screen share. Oh, okay, there it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, obviously I haven't done this since the last time.
It's all good.
Okay, so now I've got that. Now you can see both the SketchUp and the JPEG.
Yep.
All right, so we left off last time talking about groups.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have all that set up, and we messed a little bit with the brick, just starting to do brick patterning, and Kent Hurley was going to print some stuff for me, but time probably just got the best of him, like it does all of us, and he wasn't able to get me by some stuff because I was wanting to see, you know, that stuff that we had worked on with the brick molds, what that truly was going to come out, and if I needed to adjust anything before I got too heavy into the brick surrounds on this model.
Well, if he doesn't become available, I have a few other guys who have 3D printers who probably would be interested in seeing.
Well, here's the great thing about Kent. He's local to me.
Oh, awesome.
I mean, he's in Kansas City, Missouri. I literally think his house is like 10 or 15 minutes from my office.
No way. Okay,
yes.
well then
so it's just a matter of hooking up with him and getting him to print some things when it works out, so I can kind of see and plow ahead with this. But
I've been talking to Kent about getting him on the show too, but carry on.
Okay. All right, so we have the parapet piece that we based on this rudimentary profile that I just threw together, kind of knowing what those dimensions would approximately be. Mm-hmm. And last time I was saying, hey, look at the picture while I'm talking to you. Well, I'll keep the picture up, but it'll slide away when I jump back into SketchUp, but I'll keep bringing it back up as we point to things. But
sure.
Today what I thought we'd do is go into just our parapet piece and start looking at, we've got a whole row of what we call dental molding.
Mm-hmm.
That's in here, that's a detail. We have these little decorative nubs that are details, and then we've got some recesses that are all details in here too.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that is real simple and easy to model if you keep things within a simple geometry. So yep. part of the layout with the dimensions helps us get that with, you know, I like to keep things in dimensions of 4s if possible.
Yeah.
Most of the times. Okay, so if I come over and I start, this was 1 foot is what we have to work with. So let's start with our recesses in here. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that one and I'm gonna come off 2 inches, grab this one here, 2 inches. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of setting a boundary around the outside of this particular level of the parapet to give me guidelines for these recesses.
Okay. Yeah.
As I zoom in here, I can kind of see it looks like there's one in the middle and maybe there's one here and there's a smaller one here. It's really very difficult to see exactly how many there are. So what I'm going to do for the sake of this model is I'm just going to do some that symmetrically line up with the facade itself.
Model is licensed. You've got the
yeah. Again, I'm not going to get carried away with that. So 2 inches there. We'll go ahead and just for right now, it'll let me just to pull 2 inches off each side. Just now I've got, you know, a boundary around the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, now what I want to do is I do have these lines down here. Remember how we laid all that out?
Yeah.
And they were set dimensions. That was 4 feet, and let's see, these were 2'8". So I'm going to come over here, and because I want some of these indentions to line up right on the centers of these. So 4 feet, 2'8". Come on, grab it. Come on, grab it. Not going to do it for me. Why? There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a rectangle in that. I'm just setting up construction lines for right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not doing any modeling or anything at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now these were 8 inches. Oops. Oh, really? It is not.
So when you're grabbing these lines, you're punching 8 in, and it's translating it to 8 inch, and then.
Yes. I forget. I'm supposed to be providing instructional information as we go here.
It's okay. These people are supposed to go through part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm grabbing the line, and in the bottom right-hand corner, you have the little length tab. Yeah. I'm just typing it in because by default, it automatically types in, and the default is inches.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can type like 1 foot, 1, and then the foot sign and the number of inches. But instead of 2'8", I'm just hitting 32 inches.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm giving myself the guidelines to start setting all this stuff up.
You put an extra 8-inch on the end.
Oh, I did, didn't I? So I just take that. That's why I have people that are watching as part of the instruction. When you catch the errors, that means I'm doing a great job providing instruction. How's that? Okay, so now I have 3 here. I have 4 feet out here. Actually, if I offsetted that 8 and went 32, I'd be pretty close to having 5 equal. So I am going to go ahead and do that just for the sake of the construction lines. And then I'll know I have 5 equal. Is really not wanting to grab these lines for me today. So there's that one.
Is it because the space is so short?
No, I think it has to do with as soon as I draw an entity like a rectangle or a line, it doesn't want to grab from that line of a rectangle for some reason. If I hit right on a grip point like a midpoint or an end, I got to find the in-between like that little red box.
Yeah.
And then it tends to do a little bit better. So, and I'm using that tape measure toolbar just to grab it. I click on the line, I hit the left button, and then I drag it over. I type 8 in. Okay, so I'm down here, little red box, click, type 32, rectangle button. There. So now, just for the sake of our artistic license, now I've got some areas that are divided into fifths across the front of this facade. If you're only going to deal with the one facade and not create a 3 or 4 sided building, it's a whole lot easier. If I was to turn the corner with this and down this whole side, then I'd work in modules of this 3 that you can kind of see in the picture.
Yeah.
This module of 3 translates to what we're modeling here. And now keep in mind, everything I'm doing was in the parapet.
Yeah.
I'm not outside of it, so I can't click on any of those individually. I'm within this group, and that way I'm not messing up any of the rest of my model. Okay. Just want you to notice that even when this is all 3-dimensional and I'm drawing in this, you can still do push and pull. Okay, and it will limit it. You'll be able to see to right there, which is the first line. It's always going to default in a limit to something that you've drawn within the model. Okay, so I stopped it there, but I can grab it again, go further, but I don't want to do that. So I'm just pointing that out that, hey, you can still do all that manipulation. Say you want to change something, because we're going to do that once we get up here and we're getting ready to do that into here.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that I didn't take into account when I built this last time was the thickness of this piece right here and how it would print in Shapeways. Because right now I set this as the minimum thickness that I can print successfully.
Yeah.
But I'm getting ready to push and pull within that, which is going to create their little errors in their checklist. So in theory, what we would do, well, I'll just do it. We're going to get out of that, and we're going to change our masonry layer. And we're going to drop this down to the bottom.
Oh, wow.
Of our parapet. And now I'm going to take the parapet, get back into that group, and I'm going to thicken that up to the thickness of our wall.
Right on. Okay,
so now I've got the extra thickness here to work with, and now I've got one piece here and one piece here. In the grand scheme of things, it made it a whole lot easier on the Shapeways check system.
Yeah.
And here becomes your glue joint if you want to build this model in separate pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in back to my image real quick. have no idea what the detail is in these. So this is where, again, you get to pick what you want to do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, well, they probably, it's out of wood, so I come up here to my tools, to my offset. I'm going to grab, you'll see on the edge, it's recognized this rectangle. Mm-hmm. Okay, if I come up here, it'll recognize the larger rectangle around the whole piece. Yeah. I want to work here. I'm going to offset this an inch. Oh, cool. Just to give myself a little bit of extra relief. And I'm going to do all these at the same time just for the ease of working within the groups of commands. Because if I click on it while I'm kind of active in the command, it just saves time. Yeah, yeah. So now I'm going to go to push pull, and I highlight the area that I want to push. I click on it. I'm going to push it in. We're going to say 2. That went in. Now I grab this outside area. I want to push it in. We'll just say 1. Okay, so now we've created some 3-dimensional relief. Yes. Real fast on the front of this facade. You know, yeah. The goal is fast. If you're going to work in SketchUp and try and, for those guys that are out there like Kent, and I guess maybe Ed's probably printing stuff on Shapeways and selling it too. Kent's doing a fantastic job with his machinery stuff, and you got to be able to be somewhat quicker. You're going to be kicking yourself and not making money. Yes. I'm just doing it because I thought it'd be cool to embark down this path with you, and you know, like I said, if we end up printing this out and seeing how it all tests out through the FUD product, I'm finding the white strong and flexible isn't nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. It's beginning to be old school. Yeah, and some of the stuff I originally did, like bar stools and benches, people have bought, and now I got like this 50-50 mixed review of it not printing successfully, and yeah, mine came out fine, but that was just mine. Well, and expectations are being raised every year. Yeah, because of FUD, like it should be. Yeah, yeah. And so I just need to say, you know what, I don't deal with any of the cheap stuff. If I'm going to do modeling, I only do FUD, and what is it, FXD is the other one now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So now I've got a nice detailed wood parapet with millworks and moldings that at this scale, there's no sense in beveling and curving these edges. I mean, for crying out loud, by the time you put a coat of paint on it, you've already rounded the edge. Yeah, yeah. So that, from my perspective, adds a nice level of relief and detail to a flat area of a parapet. Okay, now I got another one up here that has similar, but this is where we had our bump outs. Yes. So now I look at it and say, okay, well, it was easy enough to divide this into fifths. That works symmetrically with the plan. This one, there's only 4. I want to stay somewhat true to what we have going on here, and I only want to do 4. So now I'm out to working something out on the ends, and it looks like these, if I kind of follow the natural path, might kind of line up on the masonry in between the windows, or maybe a little outside of it, because it looks like they're fairly equal spaced here. I'd agree with that. You know, but I don't know what this dimension is out here, and I don't know what this dimension is here, so we'll fake it. So we're going to come in, back into our group, new guidelines. So we'll just start with 12 from either end. I'm going to go ahead and erase some of these others that were from the other one. We don't need those anymore. It starts to get confusing. Yeah. And for those that don't do SketchUp, I don't want it any more confusing than it already is. Okay, so then I've got, let's see what my distance is between these two, just so that I can try and be somewhat 15'4". So I have 3 equal spaces of 15'4". So what is that? 5 feet, 1 and something inches. But we're not going to get that technical. We're just going to go 5 feet. So 60. Didn't grab it. Here I am again, playing 60 from that side, 60 from that side. Okay, so now I've got center lines of where I'm going to drop these 4 rectangles. Perfect. Just like kind of similar to the other one, I've got 8 inches. So how about we just go, we're going to make 4x4s for this. Well, 2 off the top, 2 off the bottom. I already have one guideline here. 2, 2, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. Oops. Okay?
Yep.
So, carry that out and do the same across. And you see you can knock these out pretty quick. I'm just going in, grabbing them with that tape measure and offsetting to give myself those guidelines. And then hit all my rectangles. And I use the shift and the middle mouse button key to pan across like that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I've got my 4 detail accents up top. Okay.
Yeah.
Grab my push-pull there. Let's make these 2 inches because we're going to add a little bit extra to these for some relief again. That one didn't come out 2. Try it again, 2. That does not. It doesn't look like it, but it's 2. We trust the computer when we're in doubt.
Perspective is what makes it look weird, eh?
Yeah. All right, so now I've got the base concrete. Well, that looks kind of big and bulky, right? Well, let's go back and use our tools, our offset command. Now we're out here at this face. We'll offset that. We'll just call it a 1/2 inch. Go back to our push-pull, and we'll push that in. Let's say 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. It doesn't need to go all the way in. So see, now we just added a little bit of relief that you'll be able to pick up.
That looks awesome.
In the FUD. And if we do the same with the rest of these, what did I say, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch across all these. And again, I kind of point to the middle of these box, and then automatically that red box is grabbing the outside edge, type 0.5. Push pull, grabbing, waiting for the highlighted box, 0.75. 0.75. Oh, I got one more. 0.75. Now, folks, you have the parapet to what we are affectionately calling the fake Ghostbusters building. And is it perfect? No. Okay, but how long have we spent here? 15 minutes maybe?
Yeah.
And we have a parapet designed that you can drop on top of any building.
Yeah, exactly.
The way I just set this up as a block, I can export this group out and tie it into several. And that's kind of where I was going to go with kind of the next 5-10 minutes here and keep the segments short. But I'll just take this and select it, edit, copy. And then I'll go edit, paste in place. Now the reason I've made a habit of paste in place is architecturally I get pretty anal with how things are moving around. I don't like to just try and copy, paste, and guess. When it's pasted in place, I have 2 exact duplicate copies, or 1 duplicate copy on top of the original right here. I grab my move button. I come in here to an exact point, and then I'll zoom back out, and I'll move it on an axis that's in line, so that when I get into setting this up for shapeways, I have things lined up to just create a sprue that connects them all together to keep my box as small as, because you have to deal with the maximum size on each one. Yeah. With what each FXD is even worse on how much you can print. But so then if I grab this, I'm going to go flip along. And sometimes I have to guess because I wasn't paying attention. I think it's the red. Nope. Oops. Yeah, don't ignore the error. Oh, come on. There. Okay. Flip along, group screen, flips it to the other side. Now I've got
continue on. I have a family thing here. So.
All right, I'll keep going and I'll keep chatting and you're just gonna have to catch up.
Okay, good.
All right, so what I'm gonna do here is now that I have this parapet style A on this side, we're just gonna create a little bit of a different style here. And I don't particularly care to have this as an option, so we're gonna get rid of these by using the push-pull, grabbing them, going back to flush. And then I will select the rectangles or the lines independently and delete them so that I'm not destroying the geometry of the model. per se, but I'm keeping the geometry intact because I'm going to do a different parapet on this side. See if I just grab this and delete it. It worked. So I spoke against my own understanding here. So you just grab them. I circled around them from left to right, highlight them, and deleted them. So now on the top here, we went 2 inches in. I'm going to go ahead and set up a couple more lines here, and we'll just go 2 inches on this one, 2 inches on this one. I want to have a nice big, deep reveal on this parapet as you're modeling here, and we're going to set that in 2 inches. Now I've got a pretty good sized detail up top that that you can add as an accent color in your model if you wanted to. I think we'll even, let's go ahead and we're going to add another inch to that, another inch to that. Give it even a little bit more depth up top. Then I'm going to come in on these, and I kind of like this pattern, goes well with what's established, but I want to break it up just a little bit more. So I'm going to come in and use the midpoint here and just divide this in a little bit more than half. I've got 8 inches in between here, so we're going to go 4. So we'll offset this 2 and this 2 so that the geometry in and of itself is consistent with the dimensions we've been working with as a whole on the model. Take that, and now I can select that, and I'm just going to push pull that and bring that out flush. So now I've taken what was an overall.
But you had to trace that to be able to pull it out, though.
Yeah, well, what I did was I'm just setting up. I like to work with construction lines because it's going to snap to the midpoint.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you can draw this a couple different ways. I mean, I'm using construction lines to offset.
Yeah.
2 inches to each side, and then the last one I did with the line tool. While I'm selecting that line, erasing it. This time I'll just draw a rectangle, kind of like I was doing with the others. There to there. You can use lines and just draw straight down along your guidelines.
No, it becomes real instead of a marking.
Yeah, so what you can see here is I've deleted the bumps up top. I've created an extra recess in the bottom here. And again, this isn't taking too long. You just have to be willing to get in here and mess around with a few things and test what you like. I mean, I do this every day as an architect. I'm always, you know, design is a never-ending process for me, and I'm always, you know, doing things like this. Well, maybe if I move it 2 inches, maybe if I move it 4, well, no, I don't like that at all. So we just erase it, and it's a constant process of drawing, erasing, modeling, sketching, you know. And so in this particular case, it's all those things applied to a fake model that has already been built in the real world that we're looking at. Okay, well, how to create, you know, a storefront prototype for the model railroad and structures industry. Did you like that logo I sent over to you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Those are the kind of cartoony versions. I've got some much more elaborate ones coming your way.
Oh, really?
But awesome. I was just kicking that around last night. It's kind of like that old school cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. You can
fun
see
logo, but
if you could animate it coming in and out and stuff like that, could be like an old cartoon.
Yeah. All right. So now, within another 4 to 5 minutes here, Ron has stepped away and addressed all of his family issues for the day, and
like we have.
That's right. We have two
totally different
similar but very different parapets. And it's just a matter of going in and, you know, doing something on the modeling side that can be printed, and that's where we just need to run some of these through Shapeways and see, you know, how much the 3D print detail starts coming out. These actually should come out really nice in the FUD product.
Yeah.
It's when we get down to the brick level. Anytime we're dealing with less than 3/4 of an inch in real scale, once I scale all that down to HO scale, I think that's where Kent was saying, hey, I'm not so sure you're going to be able to get all this stuff to print. So I may send these over to him. I think he has to remodel them, and that's why he maybe hasn't gotten back with me. So, I mean, that's just within 20, 30 minutes here. We've finished the model for our Ghostbusters building. We've added an additional parapet that can be dropped again on top of stone wall, brick wall, stucco wall. So anybody that's out there modeling in mat board or anything else, you can take a 3D printed parapet, glue it right on top, and have some additional detail without the hassle of having to try and scratch build that whole piece. So, you still there? Did I lose you? Did I lose you? All right, you there?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what happened.
My son just got home, so you
So
never know.
did the lights flicker in your house and the whole earth shake?
No, sun's shining. It's beautiful.
All right. Well, if you got a second, I'd love to chat about the lights
Sure.
component. Only because I like I said, it's been a while since I've been in the model railroading world, and obviously I don't shy away from tackling craftsman stuff. And the RDA kit has gone pretty well. But because I've not done any lighting ever, it is new, and I know that I guess it can be as simple as hooking it up to your bus wires, and then that's directly to, I guess, a separate DC power pack. And I just don't know enough about it, and I want to do it right because I don't want to be redoing it over and over.
So are you okay, your layout, is it DCC?
Yes.
Okay, so that's an AC power supply there. So you're not going to be able to hook your lights up through that.
Right, I've got a separate DC power supply for all the lighting.
So you're already set up for that.
Well, that's what I'll be setting up. I have the power pack to do it. Perfect.
So you're going to have two bus lines. You're going to have your DCC line and then your DC line. And the company that I started with, I started using pre-made LED lights. And you can find LED lights over eBay. The people who I started with was Evans Designs.
Okay.
They do model builder software. They make a fairly cheap pre-wired lighting kit. However, I have found on eBay that you can get pre-wired LEDs.
Well, I saw a pack of the what was it? Maybe it was the pre-stick or the self-stick kind, but I don't want the big bulky kind. I mean, I'm kind of thinking I can drill a hole in the ceiling that came with this kit, run the wire up in a corner, up over into the ceiling, and kind of drop it down through the ceiling like it would normally look. I just don't know what wattage of LEDs, the color. Well, if I get the red ones, the amber ones, the white ones.
I highly suggest you get a mix of cool white and warm white LEDs, but I also highly suggest you get the surface mount LEDs that are very, very small. And
like the thin tape LEDs?
Kind of, yes, kind of, but not. They're not the tape ones. The tape ones are just they're already mounted on the tape, but you can get pre-wired these surface-mounted LEDs off of eBay that are pre-wired on magnetic wire and all that stuff, and
okay.
They're drop-dead simple to use, and they already have the resistor inside it. So all you have to do is hook it up to a 9-volt battery to see if they work, and they last forever.
Okay.
And the brightness, I only control my brightness with
okay.
Yeah, you know, like if you put a little bit of water on your brush and put a little bit of acrylic paint on it and let it dry, it'll dim it down a bit. And if you don't put water on it and you put it on it, it'll dim it down a lot more. So
okay.
It's really basic how I use, dim down these lights. And I started with Evans Designs. They've got a nice product, and you know what you're getting and stuff like that. But you can also find these LEDs on eBay in packages of 20 and 30 for like $9 and $10.
Okay.
And they're pre-wired, and then all you do is contact Evans Design to get their power strip and stuff. They sell stuff. Well, you've got a transformer, you said, but
yeah, but that's a 12-volt power supply, and don't the LEDs, aren't they a lot less voltage?
They can handle 12. Well, some of them can't handle 12 volts. Some of them require 9 volts or less, and that's why it's a good idea to buy one or two off of Evans Designs to just pick their brains and figure it out and all that jazz, beforehand. And it's not a big cost, and get those things in your hand and you visualize what you got. Then it's easier once you go to eBay to order your bulk supply or your toolbox supply. then you know what you're getting because you've already bought these things and you know what you're looking for. In Evans Designs, they've got the small surface mount LEDs, and they're actually very big when you consider how big I think they're called pico size. You couldn't even see it in your hand. Like, to figure out how these people solder these things, you have to have a nano soldering iron to even be able to put it on without melting the whole thing into oblivion. So
well, it's probably all done electronically.
Who knows? Who knows? Well, the only way to sell these things cheap is to buy the LEDs and put the magnetic wire on yourself. So
yeah,
that's why I say, Evans Design is a great place to start because they've got all the products. But then you can go after you buy all those things, or just pick apart their website for the information you need. Go to eBay and buy something from a Chinese company.
Yeah.
And then buy a whole whack of it, because
Well, that's what I was looking at. I was like, well, how can I go wrong spending $4 or $5 for 50 LEDs to try something out? And if it works, then I'm money ahead. If it doesn't work, I throw them back on eBay for $3 and get rid of them.
Yeah, you'll never get rid of them. But anyways.
Yeah, I'll send them to you.
Yeah.
For you to figure out how to work with them.
Yeah, right. But warm white are the ones that you get for incandescent bulbs, and cool whites are the ones that mimic our fluorescent bulbs.
Yeah, I'm a modeling in 30s and 40s guy. They didn't have fluorescent back then.
Warm white, then. Get warm white in everything you do. Yeah.
Okay.
They look awesome, and then also if you got a nice, I got a ivory colored paint, and that's what they told me at Evans Designs, forget about trying to dim them out or put a resistor in to dim it out and stuff like that. Put a little bit of paint on, and I started putting water on my brush and put a wash of color over it, and that does a little bit. And
yeah,
they're screaming bright, these things are. So and I put in full strength paint on them, and it doesn't block the light out fully. So
you got to paint them black.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, I'll give that a try and see what I can get moving, because I'm notorious for getting the model of something started and then just not finishing it. And this one, I need to paint the inside black and just get it wrapped up and done. Yeah, the only complaint I do have about it is the models were cast with the kit, but for $20, it's kind of hard to go wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, from my perspective, and that's why I tried to share in that brief write-up on the Modelers Guild page, hey, this is just my assessment. Is I consider myself a craftsman because I've built cabinets. I'm an architect. I've built stuff, and my goal is to do everything, to the best of my ability. I'm not just going to slap a kit together and say, yep, I'm done. And, so I put some time into this, and that's why I said, hey, I went into this knowing I was going to spend time creating what I'll consider a craftsman quality type kit out of cheap plastic model.
Yeah.
And that was my goal.
I didn't know you built cabinets.
Yeah, I don't do it any longer. But I built cabinets for, 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Back when I was going through college and a little bit off and on since then. But yeah, I've built houses. I've built commercial construction. I've built just about everything. I was a stonemason for 3 years.
Yeah, lug mortar. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I started out as a chainsaw carpenter and made it to a skill saw carpenter.
There you go. Yeah, I love working with my hands, and this is a creative outlet for me to. I see all the guys posting up and getting bent out of shape about prototype stuff. I was like, man, you must have a lot of time on your hand to really worry about it to that level. But I get it. That's their hobby, and they really want to do it the way they want it, just like I do. But
they just never been on the job site in a rain day and had you say, well, this is the way it's going to get done. It might look like that on paper,
That's
but this is
right.
the way it's gonna get done.
Yeah, the architect drew it that way, but that's not how we're gonna build it.
We'd love to try it, but you're not gonna.
I've been down that path.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so I was intrigued, and I've talked to Matt at RDA and told him, I said, well, I'd be interested in building a couple of your other kits, but I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to spend the money you guys want for them to turn them into Craftsman quality all the way around. So why don't you meet me halfway, and I'll build these things up, and you can post them up on your website, because the models they have on their website don't really do their models justice. I mean, they're nice, but if they truly want to try and sell them to, in my opinion, some other people that are willing to take the extra time and effort, people need to know what they're getting into. And so their website's a little misleading.
Yeah. Like their models are they look really good, and whereas it takes a lot of work, or it takes a lot of skill to be able to get their kits to that level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, you get somebody that jumps on their website and says, oh, that's a cool building, got to have that. If you saw the bag of parts that showed up, well, you've got a couple kits, so
They're
I'm
right
like, wow,
me.
really?
They're right behind me here somewhere.
Yeah, so I thought I did a fairly simplistic 40,000 foot view. Yep, that's the typical roof, or the extras through that comes in every kit.
Yeah, so there's a lot of relief and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I'm never going to use those concrete step platform things. Now the roof vents and that kind of stuff, and they got some little steam boiler there that I can probably throw together and weather up. But
to tell you the truth, if you clean this stuff up properly with a nice file and spend a lot of time on it, you could get these things to look really good. To fit right in. Just like it's on the website, but
yeah, but that's why I was realistic with the time that I said, hey, I got X number of hours in it. I think I'm like 10 hours into it now. I'm like, man, I never expected this to take me this long.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's 10 hours on a model. I enjoy doing it. I'm getting kind of re-energized about the hobby, and it's the first one going on the layout.
Yeah, yeah.
And for me, it's part of kind of telling a story, and one of these days I'll actually get around to finishing the shades that I have sitting here in boxes that I've ordered on eBay.
It'll always be the first, and you can only go up from here.
That's right. So, but yeah, I jumped in, and I've got I got two other kits from them that I thought I'd mix in with a bunch of bar mill stuff that I picked up from a guy over on HO Yard Sale. Did me some great favors with some Craftsman kits there. So I'm hoping that by the end of the year I have a half a dozen
awesome
kits finally on the layout. But my daughter's going to start helping me paint here pretty soon.
Cool.
So she loves to paint, so yeah, we'll see.
So what happened to this hangout here? Did I get booted off, or did it all cancel?
Well, mine froze up, and it went through. I kind of got like this descending image of Google Hangouts just disappearing into my screen, and I just ended up hitting stop. So I had some infinity freeze up thing going on. So I don't know what happened. I have no idea where I was at when you got kicked off.
Wow.
I know I was in the middle of just kind of explaining, hey, this is 2 parapet options, and
yeah, that's where it was. And so we're on the same call here, or is this a new one?
Well, I just posted up the link that I still had open.
Perfect.
So I don't know if it's the same call or not.
It's the same call, I think.
Yeah, it stayed open once I hit stop, and so I just reposted the link. So we'll blame it on you this time. How's that?
Okay, I'll blame it on the NSA.
There you go. You got some bad stuff going on up there.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, hey, let's next week let's tackle the storefront.
Awesome.
And I'll see if I can touch base with Kent in the meantime and figure out how much relief we need to realistically looking at for these bricks before we start plowing through all the brick layout, because the surrounds are going to take a little bit of time.
Sure.
And I want to have walked through it once before I do the modeling session, because
Sure.
that one could potentially be 30 to 45 minutes. And what I may try and do is put together a couple of pieces on that, so that we're not trying to model the entire thing from scratch,
Yeah.
start to finish in a video, but I can say, okay, here's step one, do a little bit of the modeling, and then show, you know, 2 pieces of that put together. Here's step 2, here's step 3, to try and condense it down. Because I mean, I've watched, you know, I think almost all of the videos you've posted up, and this is great content for a few people, but for people that have absolutely no interest, I think I'm looking at about a 10 to 15 minute attention span probably to explain to them where this side of our hobby is potentially taking us.
Yes, on one hand, but on the other hand, they can pause it and rewind it. It's not like you know, they can pause and rewind and jump to different sections and stuff like that. You know, people who are really interested in getting involved with this, they're gonna be using this stuff the way they want to.
Right.
It's all free, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, thanks for coming on. I'm gonna hook us up with Nick about those windows. He says that he wants to do a hangout with you and talk about things.
Cool.
About laser cutting, and we'll go from there.
That'd be awesome.
Okay. Thanks
again, Ron.
No problem. Have a good day.
All right, you too. All right, bye.